After a while, I'm sensing the smile. After a while, I'm sensing the smile, the smile, the smile.
Hi and welcome. It's Dan Latto speaking. Welcome to the Mindset and Hustle Show. We're here with Jonnie Jensen. Welcome, Jonnie. How are you doing today?
Hello, Dan. Good to be here. Any sharp, focused people would have been around the merry-go-round with us for the last 10 minutes, but indeed we are here. And if you've just tuned in, then you've no idea what's just happened. So welcome to this completely calm and serene situation where Dan and I are here to wow you and entertain you for the next half hour or so.
Honestly, life would be much easier without technical problems, wouldn't it? So, it's never going to happen.
Imagine a conversation like this, right, with someone from 25 years ago or like someone in the 1980s, and they'll be like, so what trouble have you had today? I was like, well, this tech problem here, and the Wi-Fi went down, and my card wouldn't tap at the supermarket, and my kid's tracking device isn't working. Like they would look at you and go, what the hell are you talking about?
What has the world turned into? So what I wanted to talk about in today's session was really about health and fitness, and just to kind of frame this. So I'm 51 now, and I turned 50 last year. And for people who were watching 10 minutes ago, you already know this a little bit, but I'll just say it again. In April, I knew I was heading towards turning 50 last year, and I was also overweight, and I knew that I was overweight by about 15 kilos, I reckon.
What's that in stone?
So it's about 2.5 stone.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I've actually lost about 11 kilos. So there's about 2.5 pounds in a stone, in a kilogram, 14 pounds in a stone. And then the maths escapes me. But it's a lot, right? It's a lot. So 11 kilos, probably about 26 pounds, 25 pounds, something like that. So that's a lot. Anyway, I've lost that. I lost 11 kilos easily in the last 18 months. And I was heading towards just turning 50, and I knew I was either going to get fat or fit, and I had to make this decision. And obviously, it's quite a difficult decision to make because I love food. And you know, when people go, oh, I'm a foodie, I love my food. I'm just like, dude, I'm a foodie. We're all foodies. We all love food. But I was getting to the stage where I was just getting overweight. My knees hurt, my back hurts. And I thought, if I don't do something about it. So lucky for me, there's a CrossFit thing just around the corner, 6 minutes away. So I joined that. Big old fat Dan walks up. These strapping young lads with their shirts off, eating a big bar of dairy milk. These shirts off with 6-pack abs. You know, I thought I was in some kind of Vogue cover shoot. And then these fat up lads, you know, in my famous Spanish. And it turned out they were the guys that actually ran it. And they're amazing. They're really, really good, really friendly, thank God. But the courage to walk in, Jonnie, it was very difficult to find. And it put me off for weeks, you know, and then I eventually went in. But anyway, so we started that journey. We lost that weight. And there's kind of two bits I want to cover here today. One is we all know that it's really good to lose weight and to get fit and to go to CrossFit and run and do whatever else. But the second and I think more important bit is the mentality that goes behind that. Behind this, you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it. And I think the reason why people don't do it is that the pain of change is greater than the pain of staying where you are for now. Yeah. In 25 years, or even less than that, you know, I see guys my age and they're big, you know, and I'm like, dude, you're not going to last until you're 65. Like, you're going to have a heart attack. And, you know, and it comes from a place of love, because I'm not calling him a fat bastard because I'm getting a kick out of it. I'm saying you're going to die in the next 15 years because you're going to have a heart attack, or you're going to have Alzheimer's, increasing cancer, diabetes too. And so this is the mindset angle. And these two angles right here go hand in hand, I think. So just tell me a little bit more about your experience with that, and especially with some of the people that you work with on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been pretty fit. You know, one of my earliest experiences, you know, as a kid was starting running. And we've got a lot of American family, and they would come and visit, you know, sort of like just this generational sort of stepping stone. So my closest family are sort of 15 years older than me, and my dad's 15 years older than them, and yet we're all really, really close. So they rock up when I'm about 8 or 9. My dad would have been in his late 30s, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going running, man." Like, so my dad, being the nutter he is, he's like, "Oh yeah, fucking have some of that. Yeah, go on then, get me in." So he hated it, right? But I just, it's almost like it caught me then, you know. And so I'm 8 or 9 running around the orchard. I think I could have been really quite fit. You know, the fact that not quite now, but 18 months ago, you know, I could do, if I really wanted, a park run in like 21 minutes, you know, a 5K in 21 minutes. On the treadmill, I could get it under 20. And so it made me think, shit, what if I'd done that when I was 16 or 15, you know, and that in itself was mind blowing. But I've also have a bit up here in my mind about being overweight. But I've always been quite a thin person, so I've got that on my side. I can eat without, you know, I've got certain mates that go on a stag do and come back half a stone heavier. It just sticks to them. They can't help it. So I've not had that problem. But equally, it doesn't sit well with me when I'm addicted to something, or I can't go without something, or, you know, someone will say to me, "Oh, I can't have beer in the fridge. I'll drink it all." Well, that's not me at all. I can have one of those fridge packs like with 12 cans in, because if the match is on or I fancy one, I like to grab one. It's not that I don't think that most days, but on those other days, I'm like, actually, I'm just going to drink the fizzy water. And more often than not, I'm actually thirsty rather than wanting a drink. I don't need some sort of buzz of booze. So it's only when you stop and think that you start to recognize some of those thought processes that have you do the thing that is keeping you unhealthy, or do the thing that's getting you overweight. And all the men coming through High Value Man, which is my coaching program, like, fitness is a core part of it. I'm not a PT per se, but I am a fit man. I get a bit of back pain, I have a bit of trouble with my shoulder, and I know that keeping fit helps me manage that a lot better than it would otherwise. I also loved and still love being that dad that runs around and plays with his kids. You know, when we were on holiday last summer, I'm throwing my 14-year-old, you know, not very far, right? But still, he wants to, you know, he's got testosterone surgeon. He wants to play just like he did when he was 2 or 3. Yeah. And even then, I was that dad that was in the soft play, or, you know, running around with them. And you look at some parents, and you see them sat on the side, or at the swimming pool, and they're sat on the side, or at the trampoline park, and they're sat on the side. You're just like, wow, how much are they missing out on? And so, in terms of my mindset and how I coach men, does come back to that question, Dan. What are you missing out on? And what's the pain? What's the cost of being overweight? Mm-hmm. Because only when you really tune into that do you start to get it. You know, I don't think the cost is necessarily now. I think the cost is in 15 years when you sat in hospital and you're overweight and you're having a heart bypass or new knees, for example, because you've got so much pressure on your knees. And it's like, you know, like for men in their 50s, the heart attack, there's no such thing as a sudden heart attack. That heart attack started 20 years ago. Heavily invested in that heart attack.
Exactly, right? And you see people pie in a tummy, invested in this, you know, like they're really proud of it. And it's like, no, you're going to be dead, mate, in 20 years' time or less. And it's like, do you not deserve, or do your kids actually not deserve to have their dad a little bit longer, or a lot longer?
Yeah, totally. But it's easy to see those far away, like, costs, right? It's almost cliched kind of thing. Oh yeah, that'll happen, won't it? But it's when you can get present to the everyday costs, because the far away costs, you know, it's real, and you'd rather that not happen, but it's still all the way over there. Yeah. One of the men, mainly business owning men I work with, right? I really pushed him on this point, and I was like, "What is the cost? What is the cost?" And he said, "Do you know what? I've just seen it. He works in sales, high level, you know, 100 grand deal on the table, 500 grand deal on the table." He's like, "When I get up to present, I sweat." And of course we all sweat, but as a bit of a fat bastard, he sweated a lot. Yeah. And he was like, "If I was fitter, I probably wouldn't sweat so much," which might make presenting in front of people less intimidating or less, he's like very self-aware of it, you know. So what would it be like to be more confident? What would it be like to close more deals? What would it be like to go into that sales meeting, feel like, yeah, I'm going to take my jacket off and present rather than leave it on because I'm worried about sweat rings. And it's that everyday cost, you know. No matter how much your wife loves you, she doesn't want some flipping flabby gut slapping away at her, you know. It's like, what is the cost? I mean, that's what we have to get really present to. Or even, I'll tell you another cost. Every time you have that little thought, oh, I've got to buy the extra large, or I can't, like, those little, you know, death by 1,000 cuts, they are there. And when you tune into those, you're like, what would it be like not to have that? And then of course, then comes the struggle and strain of actually getting fit. But we talk about mindset on the Mindset and Hustle show. It's recognizing that toxic dialogue that's going through your brain, and instead of being like, oh yeah, that's just me chatting with myself, you say, no, that is that little voice absolutely fucking you over, and you need to take back control.
I've got a story to tell you. So in December, I went to a black tie event in London. So I flew to London, and I bought the dinner jacket, I bought the trousers, and the only white shirts that they had left was a small. I was in Marks and Spencer's. It was that evening, in fact, 'cause I flew in the morning, and that's all they had. And I'm like, and I've bear in mind, I've lost some weight right at this point, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is never going to happen. I tried it on, it fit. I can't tell you how good that felt. I text the wife, I text my mates, I text my parents, I text my kid. You never guess what I'm wearing. A small. Honestly, the joy. It's like the best Christmas present ever. And it wasn't stretched at the tummy either. There was room left. I'm like, dude, this is amazing, you know? So, and definitely I've had to buy large in the past where I've always been a medium t-shirt wise. And it's depressing, and they never look good. And then I was like,
they just hang on you. Yeah.
I do all my CrossFit in Primark t-shirts, right? And the reason why I do my CrossFit in Primark t-shirts is I have this mentality now that, you know, you see fat people, and I'm going to call them fat, and if they get offended, that's all right. But I see fat people wearing Hugo Boss, and they look shit, right? And I'm like, what if I could wear Primark and look good? What if I could wear a black plastic bag, and look good? It doesn't matter what your clothes are. You know, you're wearing this thing. People are buying Ferraris and Porsches and the nicest car, and the biggest house, and they get the nails done and the hair done, but they're still, you know, massively overweight. It's like, dude, lose some fucking weight. This is the Rolls Royce. You're wearing it to your next meeting. You want to give your best impression. It's not the suit that you're wearing. Well, it is. It's your fat suit, or it's your flab of skin. This is who you are when you show up. And, you know, in an ideal world, people wouldn't judge, right? But boy, we are a long way from that ideal world. Everybody judges. Even, I'm not a judge. Of course you are, mate. Everybody does, you know. And it's like, this is the bit that you've got to do. But it's this mindset that's the most important. I'd say it's even more important than the weight loss, because when I put that white shirt on and I could fit into a small, all the, you know, I'd only been doing CrossFit maybe 8 months at that point. All of that work, all that sweat, all that getting up in the morning and going when I didn't really feel like going, and lifting heavy weights and feeling awkward in front of these ripped guys with the shirts off, you know, and it made it totally worth it. And it's that mindset. And I think if people can focus on that mindset, forget about the body, just do the process. Go to the gym 5 days a week, cut your calories, 500 calories, and give it 12 months. Guaranteed you're going to get some results off that. And it's up here that it begins.
Oh, absolutely. And the first 3 months, and listen, we're not giving groundbreaking information here, okay? But the reason why it's still important is that it is this everyday conversation that we've got to win the battle with, and being self-aware enough to realize it's not going to be fun, but I'm going to go and do it. And then there's a couple of other sort of practical things. I heard this expression once: the best gym is the one you go to. So don't join the one that's really nice and got the sauna and the flipping cafe area and nice parking if it's 20 minutes away. If there's a considerably less swanky gym and it's only 5 minutes away, I promise you, you'll go to the one that's 5 minutes away much more than you will the one that's 20 minutes away. And it's those little kind of mindset hacks as well. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm so arrogant and awesome that I've got this nailed. You know, I've been so busy in inverted commas, but making content and working on a new training program for High Value Man, that the last couple of weeks there just hasn't been the space to go and do the gym as much as I wanted to. But I've got this thing, like, if I'm not doing it, I'm doing the 30 press ups and the 30 sit ups. I'm doing that because it's at least an anchor for me in that I haven't stopped completely, because starting is hard. Stopping and then starting, that's hard. Being
depressing as well.
Oh yeah, totally. Consistently doing something is the absolute answer. And it is magic, the world we live in. We joked at the beginning about what would someone from the 80s think about our problems today, but flipping that slightly, it's at our fingertips. You turn on YouTube and there's anything you want. You could do a bit of yoga. You could have a 10-minute workout, a 20-minute HIIT workout, a dance to music. Like it's just on. You know, there isn't really an excuse. And you touched, you know, what we're really touching on here about that sort of the motivational side of it. It's about having a why. And a little story for me to share. I was the classic enter an event, work my ass off to do well in the event, because for me, not doing well in an event isn't okay. So I would work my ass off, get fit, be quite excited. Like, oh yeah, I've got some muscles coming back. I've got my running time back down. Do the event, absolutely smash. I don't mean win it. I mean, get a time that I decided was good for myself. And then be so buzzed about achieving it that I'd stop doing it for 6 months. They're bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And it wasn't until I read Charles Dungy's, which his surname isn't quite like that, but it looks like Dungy on the cover, right? Charles Duhigg or something like The Power of Habits. He said, which is exactly what we're talking about here, you've got to have a why that's bigger than the reason why you're not doing it. And so the why of I need to look good and do well in this race only worked as long as the race was entered. Okay, so enter more events, right? But still, when I realized and connected with the reality that when I'm fit, I work better. When I work better, I make more money. When I've got more money, I have more fun with my kids. So my health and fitness is really about my kids' happiness, and not some far away, oh, I want to play with their grandchildren. Very valid, which I do want. But like the here and the now, paying to go out at the weekend and buying them some trainers and getting a burger on the way home or something with them. Like that's the reward of me exercising. And when you find a why like that and get really centered on that, my girlfriend's a PT, one of her clients at the moment, massively overweight. What's their why? They want to have a baby. And they've been told they can't all the time she's that weight. I mean, like, that's the reality. Oh, okay, right. Oh, yeah, I'll get fit now then, shall I?
Yeah.
You could have made that choice ages ago. You just weren't connected to a why that was powerful enough.
And even though she knows that being this overweight is really harmful for her further down the path, that's just not enough motivation.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
And she's got a large hubby. They're doing the same thing, Deliveroo, bottles of Coke, you know, and it's like, boom, you can't have a baby. And she's like, right, PT, get me going. What's happening? Like, it's
interesting as well.
The smoker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give up smoking. No. Give up smoking. No. Give up smoking. Stick. No. Give up smoking. I'm leaving it. No. Give up smoking. You've got lung cancer. Okay, great. I'm giving up smoking.
Yeah. And I think it's easy to forget that there are secondary and tertiary benefits to actually exercising. So, for example, you know, after the pandemic, I remember going to CrossFit and then fist bumping one of the guys because, you know, we were still kind of distant. So you fist bumped. And then it occurred to me, that's the only person I've physically touched in 18 months other than my kid and my wife. Like, just a fist bump. That was the first person. And then yesterday I was working out with a guy called Pepe, who's much taller, similar weight to me, strong as an ox, and I'm catching this guy up now. And we were bench pressing together yesterday, and I was joking because it felt like we were bros, you know. We were like two bros in the gym, and it was really funny. We're swapping weights, and there was a good camaraderie and so on. And that's a really good secondary benefit. And then I went to the local supermarket, and there was one of the girls there, and we give a high five in the supermarket, and it's like, that's really cool. And so you have all these secondary and tertiary benefits going in, and like with CrossFit, working in a group, and you see other people dying and sweating all at the same time, and your hands are on your knees, and you're breathing heavy, and you're like, I can't lift anymore. And you see the fat guy who's bigger than you, who's older than you, picking the barbell up, and you're like, fuck. So what do you got a choice. I can just rest. I'm not having him beat me. So off you go again. And it pushes you and pushes you and pushes you. And I think there's a big thing for group working out for a start. Me going to the gym on my own, I spend more time looking at what Spotify track I'm going to play than the actual lat pull downs I'm going to do. 3 rounds, 10 reps, I'm done. Next exercise. And I spend more time thinking about it. Whereas with this, you're on to burpees, then you're on to a row, then you're on to pull-ups, then you're on to devil presses or whatever it happens to be. You've got no choice than to just get there and do it. But it's easier because the mindset that I need to go to CrossFit at 9 a.m. is I just got to put my shorts and my trainers and a top on and get there. And the workout pulls me along. I don't have to think about the music because it's on. Usually it's quite heavy bass. But the music's on, the workout's there's people. You just pick up the stuff and do what everybody else does, and the weight drops off. Yeah. And that for me been the important bit.
Yeah. And that's finding what works for you.
Exactly.
I said it before we lost the first stream. The fat kid that came last in the race just beat every other kid that didn't enter that race.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't need to feel bad about coming last, and as a dad, seeing your kid finish, like seeing your kid on the start line, that's a win. Seeing your kid at the finish line, that's a win. Whether they won it in 10 seconds or came last in 2 minutes, it's massive accomplishment. And we have to, as adults, to take that same attitude. So I don't like running. Okay, go swimming. I don't like swimming. Okay, get on a bike. I don't like No. Do something. Find something. Go up to a fit person and say, what do you do? How does that work for you? Oh, I do this thing called CrossFit. Never heard of it. What is it? Oh, well, come and have a look. It's a park run. Park run is a beautiful thing. Couple of, depending on where you do it, couple of hundred, up to sort of 300-400 people. Saturday morning, it's free. You log on, you get a little barcode. It times you. Same thing. You could be really competitive and love the idea of, I'm going to come whatever place. Or you could just buzz off the fact that there's people milling around, chit-chatting. Oh, hello, how's it going again? And you come where you come. But if you can do, the target for me in the high value man is you have to be able to do a 5K in under 30 minutes. That's like the baseline. And then I'm saying to people, if you're fit, you're doing it in 25 minutes. And that's my goal for everybody. So when they start, it's like, right, like 30 is the baseline. Great, you've done that. Right, now let's work on chipping that away down to 25 minutes. And it's important because you get to talk about it, but it's not important like, I'm not as good as the man next to me or the guy that's next to me or the old bloke or the young bloke or the fit bloke or the thin bloke. It's like, last week I did 36 minutes. This week I did 35 minutes, 50 seconds. That's the magic of it. That's the buzz. That's the buying the small shirt in Marks and Spencer's. And too many people are disconnected from that. They have it be something like, I've got to get a 6-pack. I've got to be better than this. I've got to be better. It's like, absolutely not.
A 6-pack takes months or even years potentially. It's just about starting. Even if you're walking, you're still beating the person who's not walking, like you said. Yeah. And then you can walk a little bit faster, and then it turns into a walk and a run. So you run for 30 seconds and you walk for 2 minutes. And then the next one, it's a minute and then 2 minutes. And then the next one, it's, you're swapping it around. And I think that's really important, is just to get started. And I think that can be really difficult if you don't allocate the time to you. That's the difficulty. So for me, CrossFit, I have clients, can I speak at 9? No. Oh, well, it's really urgent. Yes. So is mine. Mine is more, I don't care what you're going through. My CrossFit is for me, and for me to be super down, I have to do that in order for me then to be able to perform for my clients. And as soon as a client starts getting in the way of that, it ruins all the rest of the clients, and it's not fair on them either. And it's definitely not fair on me. But I think you have to allocate the time.
Absolutely. One of the in my coaching, the 3XC, is the core mindset part of the program, and that is clarity, courage, and commitment. and the clarity is about yourself, is putting yourself first. So there's no kind of, oh, well, I would go to the gym, but I've got a client meeting. No, you had across a week, you had some sort of 40 spaces for client meetings. Some of those spaces, if you don't put yourself first, if you can't be the best version of yourself, if you can't be strong enough to achieve for yourself, then you won't be able to be the best for everybody else. You won't be able to achieve for everybody else around you. Men get this upside down too often. We think if as long as I do everything else, I'll be fine, and it's ultimately will fail, because something will take you down, whether it's a heart attack or a divorce. If you don't put yourself first, you can't be awesome in all those other areas. And fitness, exactly like you're saying, you don't have to say to your client, oh, I can't be bothered to see you, I'm going to the gym. It's not like that.
I don't even know.
No.
I don't even know. Yeah.
No.
In fact,
no, I've got an appointment between 9 and 10, but I'm free at 11:15.
On my calendar, we use for strategy sessions, and usually it's strategy sessions anyway. But it synchronizes with my Google Calendar, so it only shows my availability. And because it's blocked out, and I literally block out the calendar times in my calendar so that it's CrossFit, and so I can see that and other people can't. But you have to prioritize this, because it's like you say, the lady who wants to get pregnant and hasn't prioritized her fitness until it's important enough. And we don't want that it's important now being I'm about to have a heart attack or heart surgery or knee replacement or go in hospital or whatever that is. And you and I both know when we're looking at someone, dude, you need to work out. And the person also knows I need to work out. It's getting them from that, yeah, I should really work out, getting them from there to getting them to their very first, whatever that first thing is. It could be walking, it could be rucking, with a big backpack. It could be swimming, it could be stationary cycling. And people buy stationary bikes and then they stick them in a garage, use them as a clothes horse, right? And actually, it should be, I've bought this bike and I've allocated 30 minutes a morning. That's it. It's not rocket science. And then you allocate that 30 minutes, even if, and I've said this to clients as well, coaching clients, where we've spoken around weight loss. Even if you go to the gym, I can't get myself there. That's fine. Go get there. Go sit in a changing room for the hour that you've allocated. Don't get changed. Just sit in a changing room. Imagine what a knob you're going to feel sitting in a changing room because you don't go into the gym. Because what will happen is we get to the changing room and we're like, oh, fuck it, I'm here now. I've got the hour. I might as well do something, even if it's just walking on a treadmill. And then the next day is slightly better. And the next day, it's breaking the seal to get them into something. So, and I've even done it where I said, okay, go to the gym, go to the changing room, get changed. I do not want you going into the gym. I just want you sitting there in your gear. Like, they can't do it. They can't not go into the gym because they're in the gear. I was like, well, that's stupid me sitting there. I might as well go. Yeah.
Yeah. No one feels bad after a workout. No. It's just not going to happen because we are, as a machine, geared to produce feel-good chemicals off the back of exercise.
Yeah.
So the clarity of mind, the creative thinking, it's all driven by the endorphins, the serotonin, like the adrenaline, also the fatigue as well, the positive fatigue, so that we actually start to sleep better. We actually enjoy our food better. There's just the benefits to exercise are just endless. And put a different way, the damage of not exercising, it's just not what we're built for as humans. We're not built to be sedentary. It's just not part of our conditioning.
So I'm interested what you think about this. So I weigh myself every morning. I've got a digital scale, and I've also got, I don't know what it is, I've got a tape measure, and I usually, because I track everything, and I have done for about 6 or 7 years, and it's really interesting seeing the graphs going up and down. And then you can actually tie that into personal things you're going through. So our dog died in January this year, and then my weight ballooned for 4 months, and then we're losing it again through this year. But I have a tape measure that goes around the waist. And so I measure every single day and I track every single day. So like in the last couple of days, I've put weight on and I'm just into comfort food right now. And the fire's on and it's cold and I can't be bothered. And it's winter. And we're supposed to, I've got the excuses lined up. We're supposed to put fat on in winter, so it's fine. But actually what happens is, so I was 71.6 before Bali in end of October. And now this morning I'm 73.4. So I'm putting, that's 1.8 kilos. I need to get it back in at 72.5 and stay around there to make a good push in January. So I track all that. So now, and it takes an awful lot of discipline. But the thing that keeps me on the discipline for not eating sweets and chocolate and donuts and pizza, which I adore, is that if I go out of that 72s and I'm at 75, boy, getting from 75 back to 72, it's like I'm starting again. It's painful. And it's more painful than the thing that I had to do in the first place, because I'd already got there and now I've messed it up. Now I've got to get there again. So it's very frustrating. So do you measure anything? And if so, what do you measure?
There's two camps of thought about this, right? And people have got to work out what motivates them.
Yeah.
I believe that tracking, so for me, inside of the fire code, right? So I've mentioned the 3XC before. That's very much about mindset and being. The fire code is the practical actions to take in the high value man life.
Yeah.
And inside of this fire tracker is exercise. There's also sleep. There's meditation, there's cold showers, there's how much did you drink this week, there's did you have sex with a partner this week, there's did you update your cash flow. So for me, when people tick that, or they said, yeah, I exercise 3 days a week, that's 3 days this week, they get a score at the bottom that will say like, oh, 70%. You say, okay, how are you feeling? Okay, and then they fill in their 3XC score, right? It's the practical steps they take that impact their feeling. So how are you feeling about your fitness? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling my 8. Okay. How are you feeling in your mindset? I'm feeling really confident. Okay. An 8. How are you feeling in your relationships? Okay. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling a 7 actually. It's very, very linked to the activities they're doing. So for some people, knowing exactly what they weigh and measuring themselves and getting on the scales each day is part of the routine that keeps them on track. For other people, that's a bit too intense. It's a bit like, oh, I can't keep up with this. Oh, I haven't moved, or I've gone up, or it's like, do you know what? If that's not motivating you, it doesn't really matter. I weigh myself about once a month.
Yeah.
And I know, because my weight is pretty much the same, does go up, does go down a bit. But I know if my fire tracker is on point, then I'll not only be feeling good, but I'll be looking good. And guess what? My weight is in. And that expression, where attention goes, energy flows, it works across the board.
Yeah.
So it is about what works for you, and if the energy focused on the scales is really positive and healthy energy for you, then absolutely lap it up. If you're the kind of person that's like, oh my God, like if you're fat, you said it yourself a bit ago. If you're fat and trying to lose weight, then those scales may not be your friend at all.
Yeah.
What would be your friend is, did I exercise today? Yes. Okay. Did I get my heart rate up above, what is expected? I'm going to go up to what sort of 160. And if you're not tracking it, was I out of breath and was I sweating my tits off? Yes, I was. Yeah. Okay, great. Then tracking what you eat is actually really important, because if you do get that calorie deficiency in place, and what I do say to people is track your food for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Use MyFitnessPal, what I have for breakfast, what I have for lunch. You don't need to do it for the rest of your life, but you do it for 3 weeks and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm boshing 3,000 calories a day. That is why you're a fat bastard.
And that is really easy to do.
Yeah.
Having excess calories, you just eat something and then you don't think anything of it. I was in Lidl and I was looking at some like sweet and sour sauce, and I was using MyFitnessPal, 100 mil of that, and I was comparing it to a different one, and this one had like 2,400 milligrams, I think, of salt, and your salt limit is supposed to be 2,300 in 100 mil. So my entire salt intake on just this one little thing was just there. And it's amazing. And tracking your food, like I still literally, even after 18 months of doing this, I still weigh my food. I had a jacket potato last night. It was 402 grams. I weighed it. I had 3 tins of tuna. I had low-fat mayonnaise and low-fat ketchup, to make the pink sauce. Mixed it all in with the tuna, a little bit of coleslaw. Brilliant. It's like 500 calories in the entire meal. And I measure everything. And now I can eyeball it. But I can only eyeball it because I've done it for 18 months and I know what, 300 grams of chicken looks like.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly that. And that's the same thing, where attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah.
And when you suddenly empowered, like, oh, I know what I've eaten today, or I know what I've eaten the last couple of days, even if you're not typing it into the app. Once you
Yeah.
become aware of it, you just like, do you know what? I'm going to have a sandwich, but I'm not going to eat the bread. I mean, that's like a bizarre thing, but get the lettuce out, get the ham out, get the cheese out. It's basically a sandwich. You just haven't put it between two bits of bread. And that kind of knowledge, that becomes so powerful for yourself, for your kids. You start cooking and prepping stuff instead of getting delivered. I mean, honestly, the takeaway from today should be for anybody that this is an exciting thing to get hold of. This is about your kids. It's about your relationship. It's about your pain. It's about your energy. It's about your friends. It's about having a laugh. It's about making money. Okay, great. What is it about? It's about feeling confident in a meeting. Oh, how am I going to do it? Well, you're going to do it. You're going to find a gym that's near you. Do something you like. Find some people having a laugh. Find some people who are like you. Find some people who enjoy doing this thing and there's a bit of a social. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, right. Well, how much have I got to do? Not much. Just do the right bit. Are you sweating your ass off? Are you flipping out your ass? Sweating your ass, blowing your ass. Everything's coming out your ass. Right? But basically, if you're just working out, and then at the end of it all, well, tracking your food we just talked about, but then at the end of it all, you're just in front of the mirror and you actually make a moment with yourself and you're like, I am fucking doing this. This is happening. And you really tune in to who you are and what you're doing. And that's a core part of anything
like I've had it where I did have that weight, lost 11 kilos, and then I'm in swim shorts in front of a mirror, and then you walk past it and you check yourself and you're like double take, like, who the fuck is that? Fuck, that's me. It's kind of 6-pack abs kind of showing. I put a little bit of weight on since then. But you're like, oh my, and that feeling right there, if you could bottle up that feeling, it is amazing. And that is really inspirational, motivational for you to stay on track as well. And in the tracking, losing the weight and measuring your waist, you drop half an inch and you might be like, oh, well, I should have dropped an inch. I would love to drop half an inch every 3 months, let's say. If I knew I could do that, that's amazing. I'm more than happy doing that. You don't have to do it by tomorrow. By 12 months' time, if you commit, even in 12 weeks' time, if you committed to eating less food, or even just tracking your food, would mean that you're going to eat less food. Working out 3 times a week, and losing, sweating, and getting out of breath. That is going to have such a big difference, and that's the motivation that you need. And then what happens is, random people that you might see and they go, "Have you lost weight?" And you're like, you can't help it but smile, like, yeah. And you're so proud of yourself, and that's where the difference comes in, when the work begins. But for most people, it doesn't work because they don't start the work and they get themselves into this state of mind where they're like, well, I've put so much weight on, what's the point? It's going to take years for me to lose this weight. Well, that's fine. Let it take years then. If you're 55.
It took years to put it on.
Yeah. And when you're turning 60, that's amazing. Imagine doing that by 60, getting your slimness back and getting your body that you had at 15 back. That's where we should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quality.
Wonderful. Right. Well, I think that will do us for today, Jonnie. Thank you for your insights on health and fitness and the mindset that comes with that. And then we'll catch up with you in next Fridays.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to check in, then they can go to jonniejensen.com. All the stuff there about the High Value Man program is available. And it'd be great to have you part of either the free community or part of the work inside the Brotherhood. Absolutely love to have you all.
Fabulous. Have a wicked weekend. We'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Cheers, Dan. Take care. Bye.